So after I read in my statement, I watched him get 15 months for me. It's like 456.25 days. And this is like 2,123 days later, post rape, he got sentence. He also got 20 years on the registry and 10 years with no firearms. And so I left the courtroom with my people that I came with, and yeah, that was a pretty unbelievable bit of time. After that, I had 2 hours where I didn't understand what a publication ban was. And because I had no explanation given to me. So doing a little research and then realizing that a publication ban actually means that if I was to talk about this before Troy had pleaded, I could have gotten into trouble, like could have gone to jail. And if anybody was to publish it or talk about it with me, about my life, like we're talking about my life, just if I was to talk to my friend or if I was to post it on Facebook or social media or anything, talk to anybody, they're at risk of going to jail. So nobody on Reddit would publish anything to do with me. The articles that came out, I can post in the description. They're all on my YouTube page. Everything's on my YouTube page. But like I wasn't named. So the next day in the article that came out in the newspaper, I wasn't named. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And that's when I called Crown and I was just like, I want this ban off of my name. Like I literally have like been through this, and I understand that that's not for everybody, but like I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I wanted it off, and that's when the game of things changed a little bit. Like I started really realizing that they don't work for me. Crown doesn't work for you people. They do not work for you. They work for themselves. They work for the government, and they are all signed for the same paychecks. It's a fucking RCMP. So I started hearing words like, Candace, there was a lot of personal stuff in that statement. If you publish it, then media gets a hold of it, then they'll publish it. And I said, not if I publish it first. And I did, through a news article that came out later. But I started hearing things like they will be able to have access to where I went to school. I got told that I have to think about future job opportunities. Once I get the ban off my name, I can't get it back on. I had asked for a copy of my publication ban, and I was told that there wasn't one. No paper copy available. There was a lot of things. There was hiccups that came up that shouldn't have been there, like problems created kind of thing. And see, this is where I still don't understand freedom of speech, because they had me conditioned to keep my mouth shut about a ton of stuff that stuff like this. So I told them that I wanted the publication ban off my name, and they told me to think about it. I told them that I wanted to talk to them the next day, and I repeatedly asked for it off, and these are the things that came back to me. And so hitting wall after wall after wall, and I need to write a book, but eventually realizing that like they're covering their own asses because they lost the rape kit. I think it has something to do with that, and I think it has something to do with the fact that other people got charged for assaulting them before they did me, because I found out throughout this process of getting my publication ban off that in October of 2022, they put the ban on my name, and they didn't tell me. So it had been 2 years of, yeah, October 22. It had been just about 2 years, year and a half, whatever, like, that this ban was on my name, and I didn't know. And so I'm going to go loop back around to the beginning part of, like, part one, I think it was, in that, like, they put, I received that letter. And so that assault happened in 2021. It's public information. And so if he got sentenced for an assault that happened in 2021, the same day as mine from 2018, and he was already in jail from other assaults, there's just a lot of weird stuff that doesn't really make sense. So I wanted this ban off. They wouldn't let me. And my mom had mentioned Kelly Favreau, and she is a survivor that has gone through a lot of stuff. She ended up going to Montreal, fighting for section code 4864 of the criminal code to be changed. And she had things changed within her story that were like, sorry, my brain is foggy. She fought so that, like, when I go to court and get my publication ban off, his lawyer doesn't need to be there, which is a really big piece of information. She fought so that I could ask for my publication ban off, and won, by the way, she won. So that I could have my ban off of my name, and in a timely manner, as fast as feasibly possible, and I don't have to go in front of a judge. Well, guess who ended up in front of a judge after, like, from April 22nd, he pleaded. So the next day, the 23rd, to June 10th. Because I ended up in front of a judge on June 10th. But nobody told me that that was happening that day. And so this 2 months happened, and I had a worker at that time that was, like, trying to help me, but not really. And, like, I don't know, it was a total mess, and nobody knew how to give me advice, like, no counselors. And, like, my psychiatrist was like, he literally said the words to me, "I'll talk to you in August. I want to see how this plays out." So cool, guys. I was, like, so on my own. It was unbelievable. Like, only Kelly was able to, like, help me, because she was, like, the only person that I could find that had their publication ban off. That was, like, in BC. So after all of this, June 10th was, like, a really pivotal day in my life. So June 3rd comes around, the day that I was supposed to go to trial. And sorry, I'm backtracking for a second. But on June 3rd, I published my books, because I had set out to publish them on the day that I was supposed to testify. And instead of testifying, I released my 3 books, my book series. So it ended up being, like, a really cool way to, like, change the narrative and incorporate healing and stuff into real time, and, like, just life, like, real time. And so, yeah, June 10th comes, and my mom was actually in town, and I hadn't heard from Crown. Nobody, the registry didn't, like, tell me when the court date was. Like, nobody was telling me. And Crown, at this point, I didn't trust them as far as I could throw them. So I went to the courthouse with my mom, and she went up to the courtrooms and checked outside the door for Troy's name. And that's how I knew what time it was at. And so we came back at 2 p.m., which it was at 2, because we were there at 9 in the morning. And when we, like, got there, we went and we were outside we went into the bathroom, and I wanted to wait for the one Crown Council man that was supposed to be there. I wanted to see him come in, but I didn't want him to see me. And because for a lot of different reasons. But anyways, I wanted to go in last. So I hear over the announcers that, oh, like go into courtroom, whatever. And so we go in and he's not there. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Where the fuck is he? Like, this is a total mess. And the judge was sentencing somebody else, and completely unrelated. And so I had like a few minutes to text Kelly being like, dude, oh yeah, we became buddies. Yeah, Kelly, I'm so grateful for you. But anyways, so she was like texting me and like helping me out and all this stuff, and the person didn't show up. And then Kelly's just like, you have to go up there. And I was like, I can't, I'm here as a civilian. And she's just like, you have to say something, you have to speak up. And I'm just like, I can't, I don't know what to do. It was so fucking intense. Me and my mom were sitting in like the back pew. There's 3 rows, and then like when I see that he didn't show up, I went and sat in the front row, and I like made eye contact with the judge because he remembered me from when I read my statement. And then finally he starts talking about my case, like my file comes up, and he's just like, okay, so he's just like running down things, looking at me, and I'm like nodding, and then there was an issue with some of the wording within the file, because it had gotten like, he pleaded guilty on the same day with me as he did with somebody else that it does have a publication ban probably on their name, and I really don't know who it is, but he pleaded guilty on the same day for me and for somebody else, and that was getting confused with the judge. And so, and the 2 lawyers that were there, the one lawyer actually asked the judge if we should wait for Troy's lawyer, which was insane because Kelly had literally fought to get that law changed so that his lawyer didn't need to be there. His lawyer has no right to be there. He didn't even need to know, because before Kelly got that law changed, he could fight it. Okay? And I wanted this ban off of my name so I could do exactly what I'm doing right now. So, anyways, the judge, we're like going through things. I'm like nodding. And then I'm like squirming in my fucking seat. Like I can't sit still. And the judge says, he's just like, it looks like there's somebody in the gallery that wants to say something. And I'm like, yes! Like, yes. And so the lawyer came over to me, and she was like, basically, what? And I like word vomited all this stuff, and cleared up the confusion that was happening with the file. And it was like the fastest I've ever whispered in my entire life. But I was like, there's a civilian in like jean shorts and a hoodie and like running shoes, and it was just insane. And like, oh my god. And so anyways, the judge says some stuff, and he says, I see no reason why this publication cannot be revoked, and he gobbled down his thing. And it was the most beautiful feeling. It was so beautiful. Like, my mom couldn't make it to when he pleaded, which I'm really glad, because it wasn't right, but this was just so beautiful. And like, it was just such a winning day for survivors, and I wanted to like scream it from the rooftops and just share with everybody that like it is possible to like, survive and to get through this stuff, and to just be okay afterwards, because living in my body after all fucking that happened, like, is really hard. And like, I know I'm not alone on that, but if I could heal to the point of being able to talk about it, which is exactly what I did, and like, I'm here telling you, like, you can do it too. I promise. Like, there's nothing that like is in your way, because this shame and the guilt and like all this self-hatred that like I felt before, and like this shame was big, and I know I touched on it twice, but it really sucks. And learning to live in my body and be on this side of like addiction, and to be on this side of trauma, and to be on this side of healing is immeasurable to anything that I've ever experienced in my life. And if I just gotta like make a couple of videos and put myself out there and write some books and just try to let other people know that they're not alone, then, you know, it's uncomfortable, but I'm gonna do it because like trauma's uncomfortable and healing is too, but it's also like getting out of it sucks, but it's possible. And that's just what I want to tell everybody, is that like you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. I did it. And you know, I'm not done, I'm not perfect, I'm far from perfect, I'm still in my healing journey, but I'm here to say that like it doesn't have to be that way. And there's like, that's not even the end of my story. Like there's still so much more going on with where my life is taking me with even this stuff, because not only have I got my books out of it and a publishing company, but I've also receiving other gifts. Like I'm calling them gifts of trauma, and it's like it's the outcome of the lessons that I've learned throughout the time that I've spent healing, and putting those lessons into practice, and like just shifting the way that my brain works, because I don't want to be on medication, I don't want to be in psych wards, I don't want to be dealing with this shit forever. But I also know that it's a part of me, and I accept that part of me, because at the end of the day, I can only love others as much as I could love myself, and I want to love others because I do love them. But in order to do that, I have to heal and I have to love myself, so I have to keep going. And it's just become this beautiful snowball effect that I'm gonna have to do another video about, because thank you for listening, and just remember, like, you can do it too.